Hello teachers, learners, and parents. Sir Jeff po, at your service. Alam nyo ba na meron tayong website na tinatawag na DepEd Commons? Ang DepEd Commons ay binuo upang gawing accessible ang pagtuturo at pag-aaral dito sa ating bansa gamit lamang ang inyong mga smart devices gaya ng cellphones, tablets, at computers. Dito ay maaari nating ma-access ang iba't ibang learning materials mula sa Department of Education. Meron itong mga interactive materials, electronic self-learning modules, at instructional video lessons mula sa DepEd TV na tiyak na makatutulong sa pag-aaral ng mga mag-aaral galing ka man sa public o private school. Walang problema dahil welcome ang lahat dito. Para ito sa mga guro, magulang at mga mag-aaral mula sa kinder hanggang grade 12, alternative learning system o ALS, at pati na rin ang special education. At huwag kang mag-alala dahil kahit walang load ay maaari mong ma-access ang mga learning materials. Tama! Libre ito! Ang kailangan mo lamang gawin ay i-on ang iyong data at buksan lamang ang iyong browser at i-type ang commons.deped.gov.ph. Alam na ba ng iyong mga kasamahang guro o mag-aral ang tungkol sa DepEd Commons? I-share mo na ang video na ito upang matuto rin sila kung paano gagamitin ang DepEd Commons sa mabilis at napakadaling paraan. Muli, ito po si Sir Jeff at kita-kits po tayo sa DepEd Commons. Paalam!
Magandang araw, Sir Wilbur po, at your service. Narito ang ETUlay upang gabayan ka sa inyong pag-aaral upang lubos na maunawaan ang iba't ibang paksa o subject. Ang ETUlay ay isang free online tutorial class na pinangungunahan ng ICT's Educational Technology Unit sa pamumuno ni Undersecretary Elaine Del P. Pascua. Ang programang ito ay hindi lamang para sa mga bata, kundi ito rin ay magsisilbing gabay sa mga magulang at mga guro kung paano nila ituturo o gagabayan sa bawat asignatura ang kanilang mga anak o mga estudyante. Sa kasalukuyan, ang self-learning module mula sa rehiyon ng Calabarzon at kilala sa tawag na pivot ang ginagamit sa ating ETUlay online class. Kaya ano pang hinihintay ninyo? Ihanda na ang inyong mga ballpen o lapis, papel o kwaderno at samahan kaming itulay ang pagkatuto para sa bawat batang Pilipino. Sama-sama tayong magtutulungan para malampasan ang mga hamon sa panahong ito. Halina't matuto kasama ang inyong online tutor sa oras na ito.
Hello learners! Happy Choose English Day! I am Tutor Jamie and I will be guiding and sharing knowledge about creative nonfiction. So get ready as we amplify the levels of our imagination and use it in writing literary pieces in our most creative way. You heard it right. As we start quarter 3 of the school year, today's session will be an introduction of a rather different approach and style of writing in literature, one dubbed by Nick Joaquin as the literature of the future, because of its unique showing of the people's lives. That is creative nonfiction. So we have a lot to talk about creative nonfiction for today, and we have the following objectives. So the first one is that we will be defining creative nonfiction from various writers. And the second one would be we will be analyzing and interpreting the theme and techniques used in a particular text. Okay? So before we go there, or before we dig in the topic, let us first try and crack the codes of some terms that we will be encountering in creative nonfiction. So ito yung mga terms that we will be using and you will hear most often when we are going through creative nonfiction. So this is just easy. So everyone can actually answer. Everyone who is tuned in can actually answer. Okay? So fastest hands ito, kumbaga. So the task is that, well, I have a graph here of the English alphabet and their corresponding numbers. Okay, so we have 26. And then what I'm going to do is that I will show you a set of numbers, and all you have to do is to substitute each number for the letter corresponding to that number. Okay, so that would be easy. And I will be also showing some clues and some help for you to be able to do this task. So mabilisan po ito. So all you have to do is to write down your answers and comment it on the comment section. Okay, so are you ready? Okay, so let's have the first one. So the set number would be 13, 5, 13, 15, 9, and 18. So for the clue, it is a long form or a book length written work in a first-hand personal account on a specific experience. So what is it? So you can uh, write down your answers and comment it on the comment box. So by the way, I would like to shout out while waiting for your answers. I would like to shout out everyone who has been tuning in, not only on this program, on this episode, but on all ETUlay programs. Mabuhay po tayong lahat. By the way, shout out to our hardworking STO Caloocan headed by our very supportive STS, Dr. Losaria, to my Caloocan City Business High School headed by our OIC Principal, Dr. Ivy Perez, along with all the department heads and coordinators, particularly syempre sa English Department, Sir Rudney Putok. Mabuhay po tayong lahat. Okay, so I'm seeing here, shout out to all my students. Thank you for being with me right now. And you are correct. So your answers are memoir. There. So let's remember the definition of a memoir. It's a long form, book length, written work, first-hand personal account on a specific experience. Good job. Next, we have 2, 9, 15, 7, 18, 1, 16, 8, and 25. For the clue, it's a true story of a person's life written by another person. So what is it? So shout out to uh, Miss Shariza May Ogasan. So memoir yung sagot niya kanina, correct. Miss Maris Jan Santos, memoir, correct. There, you have Avril Luisa Barquez, memoir, correct din yung kaninang sagot. How about now? So I am seeing answers already. We have bibliography. Bibliography nga ba? I see Laura G. Lontok. Giselle, bibliography. Now let's see if it's really bibliography. Yes, it's actually biography. No, na-excite din ako doon kasi ang daming ano. So you actually missed out kasi 2 is B, 9 is I, O is 15 is O, and then 7 is G, 18 is R, and then 1 would be A, of course, and then 16 would be P, ayun siya, and then H, no, H, number 8 would be H, and 25 would be Y. So it's biography. There. Okay? So medyo na-excite tayo doon, no? Next, we have 4, 9, 1, 18, 25. So our clue for this one is a regularly kept record of personal activities and reflections. Actually, a lot of people are trying to keep this. However, sometimes we neglect or we have less time in keeping this kind of writing. So what could be the answer? I'm seeing here Mark Acosta mentioning diary. Catherine Reyes Garcia says diary. Manny Lin says diary as well. So most of you, Joshua Belches, Trisha Legaspi, Grace Lozano Lee, diary. Jessica Carillo, so halos lahat diary ang sinasabi. Diary nga ba? Ito nga ba ang nawawala? Mukhang hindi naman to nawawala. So yes, it's diary. Okay, good job. Next. 20, 8, 5, 13, and 5. Our clue for this one is that it's the central idea of a story. So what could be the answer? Shout out to all grade 10 students of Caloocan City Business High School. So we had our class earlier. Thank you for being with us today. There, I see answers. Theme. Kimberly Madelo says theme. Carl Vincent Apordo said theme. Micaela Sofia Pangan said theme. So, ang dami. Puro theme ang sagot. Is it theme? Yes, it's theme. Oh, good job, people. Okay. How about this one? Medyo mahaba-haba to. So, 20, 5, 3, 8, 14, 9, 17, 21, and 5. So, what could be the answer? Let's see the clue. In literature, this refers to the style and process used in a literary piece. So, what is that style? What is that process? Ano kaya ang sagot? I'm waiting for the answers. Medyo mahaba. That's why hindi katulad kanina, medyo may excess. So you were able to give out the answer. There, the first one to give out the correct answer, Trisha May Legaspi, technique. Chino Jamie Samonte, technique as well. Joshua Belches said technique. Sunshine Bernales also said technique. Carl Vincent Apordo said technique. Is it technique? Ayaw lumabas. There, technique, correct, no? Medyo mahaba, pero of course, we have, pag nakuha natin yung the first four, we already know the answer. Good job, people. Okay, so actually, it's done, but I want you to have this. This is not really a clue. You have to complete the sentence. You have to complete the expression, especially that if you have cracked all codes correctly, this is you, and you are 123, 5, 19, 15, 13, and 5. Para lang ako nagtatawag ng bingo or parang nagbobola ng loto. Okay? Awesome. Yes, Carl Vincent Apordo got it. And then Mark Acosta mentioned awesome as well. Kate Emery Figura said awesome. And a lot of people said awesome. Galing nyo mag-crack ng code, ah. Okay, so it's awesome. So this is you, and you are awesome. Good job, people. So let's give yourselves a round of applause. Virtual round of applause. Very good. Okay, so we'll have more of these terms. We'll have more of this when as we go along with creative nonfiction. Okay, so creative nonfiction. So we have this question. How can something be creative but nonfiction? Ma'am, parang ang gulo, you might say. No? Creative and then nonfiction. Okay? So can I have someone from our students who are watching right now what we mean about what we mean by nonfiction again? Shout out Miss Risha Rabor watching from Cebu City Division. Thank you, ma'am. So when we say nonfiction, because, di ba, that's it, that's something that is true, factual, something that is of information, di ba? Tapos ma'am, creative, parang hindi bagay, right? So, yes, you may have that thinking that creative nonfiction is something that is doesn't jive. It doesn't jive because it's creative, and we normally use creative writing with fiction, with imagination. And when we say imagination, that's more of fiction, di ba? Something that is real. That's correct, no, Miss Tagud? Shout out po, ma'am. Dave Martin Bill. What was that? Yeah, Dave, thank you. Okay, so we'll try to define creative nonfiction in the eyes and in the perspective of a lot of modern writers, and as well as writers that we have in the past. Matagal na to, creative nonfiction. It's just that in your days, or in our days now, that it is being popularized, no? Especially by a lot of universities in our country, particularly the University of Santo Tomas. Okay. So, according to Professor Jose Victor Torres of the Faculty of Arts and Letters of the University of Santo Tomas, creative nonfiction is a mixture of fact with the principles of writing a fiction. Ma'am, ang gulo. Baka maguluhan na naman kayo, no? A mixture of fact, so totoo, with the principles of writing a fiction. So, meaning, what Professor Jose Victor Torres is trying to say is that we are saying the truth, we are informing the public about something, about a factual thing, or an event that had happened, but we are doing it not in a straightforward way. We are uh, showing a story, or we are telling a story. Okay. Next, we have by a creative nonfiction literary magazine in the US. I found this on the internet when I was actually looking for examples and famous examples of creative nonfiction. So, according to them, in a simple term or simple statement, true creative nonfiction are true stories well told. Parang maalaala mo kaya ba ito, ma'am? Practically, yes, no? So it's something that is that had happened, no? So totoo nangyari siya, but then it is put into a story in a very colorful and a very exciting story. Kaya true stories, and it's well told. Yan. We don't say na parang pumasa ako sa napakahirap na subject ng math. We just don't say that. We say it in a very creative way. Okay? Creative nonfiction is actually writing based on factual events. So always remember factual events, ibig sabihin totoo ito kasi nga nonfiction, with the use of literary devices and storytelling techniques. So literary devices would mean na figures of speech, the structures that we use, no? We normally use anecdotes when we do fiction, di ba? Also, we use like parallelism and all. It's also used in fiction or in formal writing, but here we are actually using it in a more creative, in a more colorful, I would like to say colorful way. Okay. Here we have creative nonfiction shows, not tells. Ma'am, di ba pareho lang yun? You might ask that. But I'll show you later how show would not be the same with tell. So shows and not tells. And it also entertains and informs. So while you are saying something that is real, you are entertaining your readers. Okay? So let's look at some examples. So what's the difference between telling and showing? Kasi ma'am, sabi mo shows, not tells. Sabi mo to Tutor Jamie, shows, not tells, no? So how does that happen? So I'll have here a description of a carpenter. So let's read it. The taller man was a carpenter, complete with the tools of his trade. So that's just merely telling. You're just telling the occupation of the man, the description of the man, yung simplest form, in the most simplest form, or most not simplest pa, for emphasis, no? For in the simplest form. Now, that is telling. It's just like telling, or it's just saying na there's a taller man, and he is a carpenter, and he has a lot of tools on his belt. Now, look at the difference when we put it into showing. There. Mamhumaba, right? Because we put a lot of description. A saw and hammer dangled from his belt, and an adze was hooked into it. One thumbnail was black, and then he bowed, and when he bowed, she saw several long wood shavings caught in his curly hair. So that's showing already. Una, it's more of like just saying it straightforward, and it's like saying na he's a carpenter and he has tools. That's it. No, but here it is mentioned what are the tools that he has. What makes the person a carpenter? So if we look at it, sabi niya a saw and hammer. So may lagare, may martilyo dangled from his belt. So meaning it's hanging from his belt. Naka sabit, right? And then an adze. Do you know what an adze is? No, an adze would be like it resembles an axe, only it has a different structure. No, there. And then sabi niya, one thumbnail was black. So one thumbnail, yung kanyang kuko sa kanyang dito sa thumb niya was black daw. So most probably parang I do not know any carpenter who doesn't have a rough hand or a chipped nail because of their work. So most of the time they may have accidentally hit it with a hammer or any tool that they may be using, right? So a lot of you were saying real story, very detailed. Yes, that's correct and specific. Okay, there. So that's the difference between showing and telling. So with showing, we do entertaining while we inform our readers, no? So parang ang saya naman basahin noon na nakaka-entertain talaga, right? There. Now, here are the forms and the genres that we may have or that we have encountered, and we do not know that they are actually called creative nonfiction. Okay, so we have the memoir, the autobiography or the biography, the personal essays, literary journalism, speeches, journal or diary, and food or travel blogs. No, so we watch them also. There are also blogs there. So let's move on. So for a memoir, this is a memoir. So a memoir is it's a book long, no, a lengthy article, book long siya, katulad nung kanina nasa description. It's a book long write up of an experience. So you may have heard of Memoirs of Geisha. You may have watched that. But when I researched it, it's not actually from a true it's not a true story. It does ano lang siya, based lang siya on the culture of Japanese women during those times. But it's not really from a true story. Ginamit lang yung term na memoir of a geisha. But a true memoir would be written by a person about his or her experience of a particular event, like for example this one. I found this on uh, on a blog that shows memoirs, no, short memoirs actually. It's entitled "Insane After Coronavirus." This is the actual events wherein the Patricia Lockwood, the author of London Review Books, no, this is this is her actual experience after getting coronavirus in the US, or in the UK. No, so she was showing the public what was it like to have or to get the coronavirus for the first time. She got the virus at the brink na nag-uumpisa pa lang ang pandemic in the UK. Okay? And this is how she went. I did not medyo mahaba kasi, so I just chose some excerpts. So the first one would and I will read it to you. The pain was like a long, steady sunburn inside my chest. The weight was like a lead apron. See? She did not just say na masakit, it hurts, it burns or something like that. She uses a strategy or a technique or a figurative speech like simile. I think I'm sure this is simile, but she used a simile to compare the feeling, her pain, with sunburn inside. So ganun katindi yung sakit na naramdaman niya. Madikit lang tayo sa mainit na kawali or something, 'di ba? We jump or nasasaktan ng gata. How much more if it's a sunburn inside, something that we cannot really reach, 'di ba? Inside her chest. And then the weight was like a lead apron. See? Like a lead apron. Lead apron. Lead. It's mabigat yan. Something like how can you wear an apron made out of lead or metal or anything that is heavy? I would not wear an apron like that, 'di ba? So that's how she felt that time. So instead of just saying now it hurts, I cannot move or anything, she showed through words and through techniques like simile nga, how it felt having coronavirus. And it has an effect on the readers saying na, mag-iingat na ako kasi ganyan pala kasakit. 'Di ba? Ganyan kasakit. There. Next. So that's memoir. So you'll read a lot of memoirs and you can actually work on your own memoirs. Okay? Next, we have autobiography and biography. Or these are actually two the same. However, their difference is that who is writing the story of whom. So with the autobiography, sige nga, viewers, what's the difference between autobiography and biography? I'll make a shout out. I'll read out your comments. So while I'm waiting for your answers about the difference between autobiography and biography, I searched for the most famous, one of the most renowned biographies in the Philippines. So sa Pilipinas naman tayo. And I found this one, the first Filipino, which is the award-winning biography of Dr. Jose Rizal. And it was written by Leon Maria Guerrero, Leon Ma Guerrero III. It has been said that after this biography, the first Filipino, it has become the standard of all biographies already. So parang ang bigat nung dating. And it's not surprising because it has won a lot of awards. And one of the awards would be the National Commission on Arts. Okay? So talagang bigatin siya. Okay? So I have answers here. Sharisa May Ulgasan said auto self. Auto is self. I think that's what she meant. Autobiography is you tell your own story. That's correct. Autobiography is writing about yourself. That's correct. And biography about someone else's life story. That's correct. No, Felicity, Sophia Navarro mentioned autobiography is about self. And biography is about a famous person. Yes, that can also be taken. Auto, the first author who write a story, bio, the second person. That's by Richan Liabado. Thank you, ma'am. Autobiography written by the person itself, while the biography is written by another. So, yun lang yung halos difference nila. Okay? And we look into biographies as something that is of personal recounts. Okay? There. So, good. Next, we have personal essays. So, personal essays, it's can cover a wide range of styles, from writing about one's experiences to expressing one's personal opinions. And it's also commonly found in magazines, literary journals, blogs, and newspapers. So most of these are like opinions of writers. They most would be uh may have come from their experiences. So it also has truth, because it is something that they have experienced, no? Or if not, it's something that is experienced or being it's been relatable to a lot of people, particularly the readers. Okay. Sir John Martin A. de Guzman mentioned writing about self. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you. Biography is written history of someone's life, while autobiography, the biography of a person narrated by himself or herself. Thank you for those um, comments. Okay, there. Now, I try to find personal essays that I can use, but bakit pa ako lalayo, no? I want to show you a personal essay that I have written like a week ago. Assignment ko to actually. So, here the essay is about my opinion on the gap between the generation. It's actually entitled Frustration Bred Generation. So madalas kasi I always hear a lot of people saying that the generation before is better than the generation now, and that ang daming reklamo sa generation now. But then I also found a content um a content on TikTok. So yes, nagti-TikTok ako. A content on TikTok saying na we are always angry with the generation now, but we are forgetting who bred them or who raised them. Eh, di ba tayo din yun? There. So let me read this to you. We were limited. We have to work. We have to study. We have to obey. No one enjoyed this in our time. We dreamt of change. We wished for better. So we told ourselves, I will not let my children go through what I have been through. And so we got what we wished for, and we exaggerated. Yeah. So I wrote that personal essay. Wala pa akong grade dyan. But I feel that this is a personal essay because it's my opinion. However, it is coming um, from uh, from somewhere. So parang there is a frustration within me that I am actually one of those who are this is my opinion I am actually one of those who are triggering or lagi parang nagagalit with the generation, but I'm actually asking myself, who raised this generation? 'Di ba ako, kasama ako doon? And I told myself before na hindi ko papayagan na maranasan ng mga anak ko ang naranasan kong hirap. O ayan, be careful what you wish for nga. Okay? So that's a personal essay. Wala pa siya sa mga blogs and all, maybe in the near future. There. So we have to remember that creative nonfiction is, or also known as literary or narrative fiction, is a genre of writing truth which uses literary styles and techniques to create factual, accurate narratives. So factual, accurate narratives, but in a storytelling technique using literary styles like figurative speeches, um, idiomatic expressions there. So we are mixing creative and truth, being imaginative and truth. Okay, that is by Wikipedia. Now, let's try to analyze. So we are on the second objective. Let's try to analyze and interpret the theme and techniques used in this personal essay by Shiko. Shiko is an ancient writer, a contemporary writer, an essayist. He is based in Taiwan. And I worked on an analysis on his essay on borrowing money. So mukhang alam niyo na kung ano ang tungkol saan ito. On borrowing money is an essay, a contemporary essay by Chico, which talks about how a person feels, how a lender and a borrower feels when they borrow or lend money. So there. So with our analysis last time, we discussed with creative writing, no, last week, how we analyze literary pieces. So on borrowing money, the essay's type is narrative. The author binds the reader into the situation itself, from being out of cash to carefully listing down 6 characters as prospects to borrow money from. Actually, what makes this a personal essay and a nonfiction, creative nonfiction, is because the author, Shiko, used characters to personify different people who we borrow money from or who lends us money. No? So we have also for the content, it's a universal topic kasi parang simula noon hanggang ngayon, pag usapang pera, all ears tayo, right? And then it's also timeless. And his essay has sufficient arguments and conviction that actually um, makes the readers reflect on magpapautang ba ako o hindi na ako magpapautang, manghihiram ba ako o hindi na ako manghihiram. Okay? So one of the arguments, if we look at the statement here, the first paragraph, and I read it to you, it seems unlikely that we can utterly avoid entanglements in money matters before we die and money doesn't matter anymore. So from this first paragraph, we can say that the author uses a lot of techniques, no, that are used most of the time in narrative stories or in narration. So parang hindi nga siya nagmumukhang essay na, nagmumukha na siyang story. But since this is written in the first person, Shiko used the first person talking about himself, it's based on a true experience. And he used narratives like this and personification of characters, no, to expound on his subject about borrowing money and lending money as well. Okay, there. So meron pa ako dito. But I would like to, we will continue this. I would like to propose a project for you, no, listeners. No, I would like to have you express yourself. No, sinabi ko ito kala ano. So I would like you to express yourself by there. So since we are working on writing creatively, I would like you to share your thoughts and write a 2-stanza poem and submit it as a comment here on this ETUlay video with the hashtag ETUlayCNF. So it's creative nonfiction. And then I will monitor it, and then I will choose the best piece, and I will read it in our next ETUlay session. So before we end our session, let me just read another of my own creation, another of my own literary creation, actually assignment sa masters. Okay, wait lang. So this is about my own tree house. Okay, so this is a free verse poem, and it's actually of a true story and of a true experience that I am having in the past few months. So let me read it out to you. I cannot seem to have the inspiration to write a novel, a story, not even a short poem. So I just gave up and stopped. Then I remember, why not answer my own tree house? How are you doing, self? Whether unsure or not, I am doing well. The fast reply to dwell. How has life treated you so far? Let's see. I wake up, I eat, got a job, family, friends. Yes, life has treated me well. How much more can you take? Tough question, but I answer. Through time, I healed. It was not easy, but I did. Learned lessons and kept still. Not sure if I can take more. Not certain if I would want more. But what matters most is whatever life throws at me, here I am. I am ready. And with that, thank you for today. And I'll see you next time. Don't forget your hashtag ETUlay CNF for your express yourself to stanza po. See you next time. Have a great day. Stay safe.
Good day, this is Teacher Rowan. I'll be your guide in exploring Google Apps for education, for teaching and learning. In Google for Education, teachers can connect and collaborate easily while staying on task. It gives teachers the freedom to spend more time personalizing the learning experience and less time managing it. Students can learn essential skills such as 21st century problem solving, which they can use it in their future careers. As such, the accessibility features will also help and assist every learner to do their best work. Google offers different useful applications that we can use to connect education to technology. This will help our teachers as a 21st century educators to innovate and find ways on how to make teaching and learning more exciting, engaging, effective, and flexible to the demands of the society. Let's re-explore the education experience by discovering new angles to create, collaborate, and communicate as one. Para sa bata, para sa bayan, at para sa guro. Ang pagkatuto, huwag gawing komplikado. Sulong edukalidad.